Have you ever been at the store minding your own business, going through the different rows of items, looking for whatever you were, and then had somebody walk up to you and just treat you as if you worked there? You know, asked you questions of where things were, or if this or that thing worked, or whatever. And you didn't look the part, and you didn't act the part, and you were just kind of there. Well, I had this happen to me at a Lego store here in town just this past week. And as I was minding my own business and I was fishing through their big bulk stuff, just pulling out little pieces that could help me with a build that I'm doing, this young guy, about 9, 10 years old, something like that, walks up to the other end of the bulk pile. And he just flat out says, "Do you guys have any firefighter sets?" I mean, probably. And all of a sudden, I left what I was doing, and I walked with this young man over to the Lego City stuff and showed him a couple different options for firefighter sets. I didn't work there. I've never worked there. I was wearing something kind of similar to this, just a t-shirt and shorts. There was no reason for him to think that I worked there, but apparently I looked like the person to ask, and you know, I had the answer. But what was really funny is that it didn't stop there. His mom kind of chastised him and was like, "He doesn't work here, what are you doing?" And yet, that same young lad decided to come back to me multiple times and ask different questions. But what I found most remarkable about it is that, you know, really, that's pretty similar to how we're commissioned to talk about Jesus. Like, a lot of people will picture, oh, well, the pastors need to be the ones that actually evangelize. They need to be the ones that go out into the world and talk to all these different people about Jesus. But really, we were all called and commissioned. So even if we aren't given the vest or apron that says, "Hey, I'm a Christian leader that's supposed to tell people about Jesus and teach them the Bible," really, we should still know some of the same answers. Now, the Lego store is a little different, right? Like, it's pretty simple for 1 or 2 people to handle the different customer needs that are going on. But when you take that model and you blow it up to the size of a city or the size of a state, all of a sudden 1 or 2 isn't going to be able to handle it. So now take those needs, take those ideas of what people might have a problem with in the Lego store and times it by 100. Because what pastors are dealing with and what teachers are dealing with is not just, "Hey, do you have a firefighter set?" What they're dealing with is, "Do you have an hour to talk about my collapsing marriage? Do you have an opportunity to tell me why bad things happen to good people?" So obviously, the problems that pastors and teachers often run into are going to be far more complicated than just nudging a young boy over to a certain section of the store. And that's why the need is so great to be able to step up and say, "Hey, I might not be that leader, but I am qualified to answer these questions." So in the case of the Lego store, I was qualified to answer some of the questions. Some of those same questions he asked were things that I wondered when I first entered the store, and I found out through the process of actually being there. Christianity is very similar. The stuff that we go through on a normal basis, if we aren't seeking to understand God, if we aren't seeking to understand how our faith interacts with the world around us, then basically we're walking into the store and we're never learning how anything works. So when somebody else walks into the store with us and says, "Whoa, this is a really cool place. Where would I find this?" We just sit there and go, "Well, what do you mean you don't know? Haven't you been here like a dozen times?" "Yep. I don't know." As crazy as it would be to go to a store 100 times and not know how the store works, the same should be true of our faith. If we go to church and we have small groups and we interact with other people and we actually read our Bibles, we should have qualified ourselves to answer some basic questions. A lot of people in Christianity that I have talked to have disqualified themselves from answering those questions simply because they say, oh, well, I'm not a pastor. Oh, I don't have the name tag, the badge, the vest, the outfit. So I don't have the ability to answer those questions. God uses individuals who may not feel qualified to make a huge difference in other people's lives. So, before you count yourself out, just remember that God may be prepping you, or has already prepped you, to impact somebody that nobody else could reach. It might be good to know where the firefighter sets are.